Hey guys, today we are taking a look at how to set the club in the best way for your game. So we're talking about setting the golf club, and obviously there's three different types. Earlier set, setting halfway back, and setting at the top. Now, my backswing's really influenced by the golf swing of the players growing up, okay? So I grew up in when I very first started playing, Nick Faldo was completely in his pomp, he was in his heyday, and Nick Faldo was very much about having an early set of the golf club here, rotated very much to the top. So he had like this early set, turn, and he had it so straight, it was untrue. But kind of the coaching of that, they were coaching the county teams with that, but that was so much of a kind of coming towards maybe its end a little bit, because Tiger Woods was starting to come on the scene and Ernie Els was already kind of getting to the point where he won the US Open and things like this, and he talked about width. So that kind of influenced my golf swing, because width to me back then, get as wide as I can, okay? And getting as wide as I could meant I set the club really late, okay? It's what we call a bit of a float load, which is setting that golf club as you're almost starting that downswing. So actually that's probably a pretty good place to start with what I do and how if that's you in your swing, and how this piece of advice here can really help you. So for me, what I did is I used to think that getting it as wide as I could and setting it really late, that was just what I did. So I just learned to do that. Now, it's fantastic for hitting the ball a long way, okay? But there's many downsides to it, okay? And it's one of the reasons I wouldn't teach it to somebody straight off the bat, because it's quite a difficult thing, okay? Sergio is a guy who sets it quite late. If you go back to Sergio in his early days, late 90s, early 2000s, and you would see that his was setting much later and he had even more drop than he does now, even more lag. Now, the main reason is that as you're getting it to that top of the backswing here, as you're starting down, the club is still setting. So you're still getting that wrist set as you're coming down. So it's great for getting lots of angle coming in, but it can lead to timing issues. The timing issues aren't at the bottom impact. The timing issues are in the transition. Okay, so that's obviously the changeover, and it's when people want to try and have the slowest part of the swing. But if the club's still loading in massively or a lot, okay, you've got to do one thing that's really important. What you've got to make sure is that your arms are completely in sync with your shoulder rotation. If your arms are keeping on going after your shoulders are finished turning, you're going to be trapped. I should know, I've done it. Block central, okay? Loads and loads of blocks to the right. You can't get your arms back out in front of you on the downswing, because you're so much down here, you can only hit it miles right, okay? You've got to make sure that those arms are completely and utterly synced, okay? So as you can see there, I'm only setting it at the top there. So this is what I would do in my swing, and then it would load it coming down, but my arms are going to be really in front of me. So you've got to make sure that you've got a full shoulder turn, but those arms are stopping when your shoulders are, okay? So, but if let's say you're an early setter of the golf club, like the era of the Nick Faldo. Now, the David Ledbetter book, which I think was amazing, called The Golf Swing, it was his very first ever book for teaching, and he talks about the wrist set in there. I think he used Davis Frost as the model, who was an amazing player at the time, won like $1 Million Challenge many times. He set the club early, and the illustrations are on an earlier set, and then turning and getting the club shaft a bit more parallel to the top, okay? Now, some of that stuff in that book was so far ahead of its time, centrifugal force, all these things that Ledbetter spoke about, that it was unbelievable. I think that was probably his best material, in my opinion. I thought it was the best book he did. But how can you apply if you get an early set? One of the downsides I see to an early set is a lack of synchronization, where the player will get the club opening a little quick here, okay, so the club face gets a bit open and then can get a bit behind the hands for a lot of players. Okay, so it gets a little bit flat, okay, in here. And the big thing is you get very out of sync, okay? So on the way down, it means there's got to be a bit of a chase out with the arms to get the arms back in front of the body, because not everything's together. Now you'll see some players on tour setting the club early. Stenson and Willett, two that immediately come to mind. But they're still making sure that they turn the body. So that body turn starts here, and they make sure that that right hand is on top as they set it. So the leading edge of the club is parallel to the spine. The old way of doing it was all about the first reference point you ever had was where the club shaft was parallel to the floor and the club face was looking forwards. If you turn through from there, quite often, without doing anything with the body, with the hand, sorry, the club face will tend to come in a little bit open there. So it's quite hard to get that back without some form of manipulation. So the tour players that are doing that, they're getting that right hand on top, club face parallel. Make sure you're turning your body with it so you're fully in sync and it's not just the hands taking it back on your own. That's the downside to that move. It can get you out of sync, okay? Just requiring a bit more timing. Can give different types of misses for different players. Now, what is the perfect blend? Well, for me, I like to see one piece move away right here, okay? Club's an extension of the belly button. Club face is parallel to the spine. Right hand will be a little on top, but it's not starting to hinge too much. As soon as the hand's past the right thigh, to see that club start to set up, okay? So the left wrist is cocking, right wrist is hinging back a little bit, okay? Now you can have two types of club face at this position, dependent on what works for you, okay? Is you'll have someone like Adam Scott's got the club really square and neutral here, or you've got some players who've got it a little bit more there, where it's parallel to the spine, so their right hand's just been a little bit more on top. Then what you then want to do is once you've got that set halfway back, we are looking at creating 90 degrees between the left arm and the shaft, then rotating and stretching to the top, where the arms are now in front of the body, and when the shoulders have stopped turning, so too has the club stopped moving. This gives the best kind of consistency for the downswing, because obviously everything's so much more loaded together in front of the body. So as you start down, you can really deliver that club with the body nice and reliably into impact. You don't have to kind of wait for the club. It's a really good solid position, something I really like to see. I think that if you incorporate that one, that's my favourite one or my preferred style, it would give you maximum consistency. You're not having to worry about the club moving faster than you are in the first move. It takes away the idea that the arms are going to maybe get behind you in the transition. If I practiced a lot, that's what I would try and do in my game, but I don't have the time. So if you're mad busy with work, you don't have the time, make sure one of those other two fixes that I've said there for the way that you set the club, that you incorporate, keep your eye on what can work best for your swing, and I'm sure you should see some fantastic results. So guys, thanks a lot for watching that. Hope it's been useful for your game. Hope that learning that correct set and kind of the tendencies around it have been useful for you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Comments always welcome below. We do read them. Any suggestions you guys would like to see, please put them below. Like I say, we always look at those. If you want to contact me, please do so via my website. Thanks for watching and speak with you again soon.